The Philippe Dufour Grande Sonnerie on my wrist felt suddenly heavy as Uncle Nathan's words hit their target. Olivia, I hear your little app business is struggling to find investors. Perhaps it's time to consider a real career, like Victor's investment banking. The entire family turned to look at me, their eyes a mixture of pity and smug satisfaction. The watch, worth more than everything in this overpriced restaurant combined, remained hidden beneath my simple white blouse cuff. Just as my company's $11.2 billion valuation remained hidden behind what they dismissively called my computer job. I felt my jaw tighten as Cousin Victor adjusted his Rolex, probably his signing bonus gift and definitely not as rare as he believed. Across the Lazy Susan, Aunt Rachel compared her designer handbag to my mother's, voice dripping with the same condescension she'd shown since I was a child. For 15 years, I'd let them believe I was the family failure. Tonight, that carefully maintained facade was about to shatter. My name is Olivia. I'm 32 and a tech entrepreneur. This is the story of how I rebuilt my father's legacy while teaching my family the true meaning of success. The annual Pierce family dinner had been a ritual of humiliation since the 2008 crash wiped out my father's investments and forced him to sell his prized watch collection. Before the crash, Dad had been respected, his passion for horology admired. After, he became the cautionary tale, the reason everyone pushed their children towards safe careers in finance and banking. I'd chosen a different path. When I started my algorithm company 7 years ago, I kept a picture of Dad's dream watch, the Philippe Dufour, taped to my monitor. Not as a symbol of wealth I wanted to acquire, but as a reminder of the precision and craftsmanship I wanted to build into my work. The bus still treating you well? Victor smirked, swirling expensive cognac in his glass. I could recommend some good lease options. Before I could answer, Uncle Nathan interrupted. Speaking of success, Victor just made junior partner at Goldman, following in his father's footsteps. The table erupted in congratulations, while I quietly reached for the soy sauce. My sleeve rolled up slightly, just enough for Dad to catch a glimpse of what was underneath. His chopsticks clattered against his plate. "That's," he stammered, face draining of color. "That's impossible." The table fell silent as 15 pairs of eyes darted between us. "Is something wrong?" Mom asked, looking concerned. "That watch," Dad's voice was barely a whisper, "it's a Dufour Grande Sonnerie. There are only 16 in the world." "It's worth over $2 million, Victor finished, his Goldman Sachs-trained eye finally recognizing what he was seeing. As someone who regularly dealt with ultra-wealthy clients, he'd seen photos of these legendary timepieces in auction catalogs. The silence that followed was exquisite. Aunt Rachel's designer bag suddenly looked very cheap. Uncle Nathan's Mercedes seemed decidedly middle class. "Oh, this old thing," I smiled, deliberately echoing the phrase Aunt Rachel had used earlier about her Gucci purse. "Just something I picked up at auction last month." But how?" Mom sputtered. "You take the bus." I took a sip of tea, savoring the moment I'd rehearsed in my mind for years. Ever wonder why I take the bus? It's because I'm usually on calls with our Tokyo office. Can't do that while driving. "Tokyo office?" Victor's smirk vanished. "What exactly does your app do?" I pulled out my phone, not the latest iPhone, which had made them snicker earlier, and displayed our company's recent valuation report. "We develop AI-driven financial trading algorithms," I said, sliding the phone toward Victor. "Actually, we probably power some of the systems you use at Goldman." His eyes widened as he read. Uncle Nathan leaned over his shoulder, then made a choking sound. "10 billion?" he wheezed. 11.2 after last month's funding round, I corrected, though valuations can be so volatile. Can't they, Victor? The fancy watch on his wrist suddenly looked very small. Dad was still staring at my Dufour, his expression a mix of recognition and regret. He'd been the one who taught me about watches, about their history and craftsmanship, before he'd lost everything and decided that traditional banking was the only safe career path. "The auction," he said quietly. "Christie's last month." I nodded. Anonymous buyer. "I follow all the major watch auctions still," he explained softly. It's the one connection I've kept to my old passion. I read about this particular piece selling for a record amount. I knew you'd recognize it eventually, I said softly. It was your father's dream piece. I know, I replied. Why do you think I bought it? The rest of dinner was awkwardly quiet, punctuated only by the occasional clink of chopsticks and muted requests to pass dishes. My cousins, usually so vocal about their achievements, seemed to have collectively lost their voices. Even Victor stopped mentioning Goldman Sachs. So, Uncle Nathan finally broke the silence. This company of yours, it's quite successful then. I checked my phone. Another notification from our London office. You could say that. We process about 30% of all AI-driven trades in Asia, probably closer to 40% after next month's merger. Merger? Victor perked up, his investment banker instincts kicking in. With whom? Can't say yet, I smiled, but you'll probably read about it in the Financial Times soon enough. Your firm is handling part of the due diligence. Victor's face went pale. The Quantum Trade acquisition, that's your company? Dad's head snapped up. Quantum Trade? The Singapore-based firm that's revolutionizing Asian markets? Among other things, I said deliberately vague. The NDA wouldn't lift for another week. Aunt Rachel leaned forward, her earlier disdain replaced with intense interest. But Olivia, darling, why didn't you tell us? All this time, we thought that I was struggling, taking the bus because I couldn't afford a car. I adjusted my watch again, letting the light catch its perfectly crafted complications. Sometimes success doesn't need to be advertised. Speaking of advertising, Uncle Nathan cut in, my investment portfolio could use some diversification. Perhaps we could discuss... Sorry, I interrupted politely. We're fully funded. Last round was oversubscribed by about $3 billion. The table fell silent again. $3 billion in oversubscription was more money than all their portfolios combined. Mom touched my sleeve gently. But sweetheart, why keep it secret? All these years. Because I wanted to build something real, I replied. Not just chase status symbols and family approval. Dad was still staring at the watch. The auction, he said suddenly. There was a bidding war. The price went way above estimates. I know, I smiled. I was the other bidder. But there were two... His voice trailed off as understanding dawned. You drove up the price deliberately? Had to make sure no one else got it. I shrugged. It was your dream watch, Dad. I wasn't going to let it slip away. Victor, trying to salvage some dignity, cleared his throat. Well, at Goldman, we always say... Actually, I cut him off, checking my phone again. Your trading desk just switched to our new algorithm platform. The memo should go out Monday. He deflated completely, his junior partner status suddenly seeming far less impressive. After dinner ended, we all stepped outside the restaurant. Dad followed me to a quiet corner of the courtyard while the others were still gathering their designer coats and luxury car keys. The night air was crisp and I could see his breath as he struggled to find words. That watch, he finally managed. It was the one in my study, the picture I kept on my desk for 20 years. I nodded. Right up until the crash forced you to sell your collection. He winced at the memory. 2008 had hit our family hard, transforming him from a respected collector into someone who pushed his children toward safe careers in banking and finance. Is that why you bought it? He asked quietly. To prove something? I pulled back my sleeve, letting him really see the timepiece. The moon phase complication caught the streetlight, its perfect craftsmanship a testament to dreams that transcend mere wealth. I bought it because every time I visited your study as a kid, you'd tell me about this watch, about how only 16 people in the world would ever own it, about how it represented the peak of human craftsmanship. His eyes misted slightly. When I started my company, I kept a picture of it too, not to remind me about money or status, but about precision, about building something perfect, something rare. Just then, Victor and Uncle Nathan burst out of the restaurant, both talking rapidly into their phones, probably calling their brokers to research my company. Aunt Rachel was not so subtly showing Mom pictures of her nephew's son. Here, I said, starting to unbuckle the watch. It was always meant to be yours. Dad stepped back, shaking his head. I can't. It's too much. Actually, I smiled, I bought 2 at the auction. This one's yours. Mine's in Singapore. I figured 1 masterpiece per continent was reasonable. His hands shook as I handed him the watch. After a moment's hesitation, he carefully fastened it to his wrist, his expression transforming as he admired it in the streetlight. 2? But that's $4 million. I shrugged. About what I make in interest each month. Besides, some things are worth more than money. Mom came over, still clutching Aunt Rachel's phone. Olivia, dear, about this handsome young man. Sorry, Mom, I checked my actual phone, the non-fancy one that ran our secure company apps. But I'm already seeing someone. He's the head of AI research at MIT. We met at a conference where I was the keynote speaker. Various relatives within earshot nearly gave themselves whiplash, turning to stare. You know, Dad said softly, admiring his watch, I always wondered why you worked so hard on those computers instead of following Victor into banking. Remember what you used to say about this watch? That it was valuable not because of its price, but because it represented someone's relentless pursuit of perfection. He nodded. That's what I built, I said. Not just another trading company, but something precise, something rare, something that changes the way the whole industry works. My phone buzzed again. The Singapore exchange was opening soon. Dad noticed and smiled. You should go. Markets wait for no one. Actually, I pulled out 2 tickets. Why don't you and Mom come to Singapore next week? See what your daughter actually built. First class, of course. On your jet? Mom asked excitedly. No, I grinned. On the bus. Just kidding, yes, on my jet. Mom beamed, squeezing my arm. We'll be there. I can't wait to see it. As we said our goodbyes, I heard Victor explaining to Uncle Nathan why making junior partner at Goldman wasn't really that important in the grand scheme of things. Aunt Rachel was suddenly very interested in tech stocks, and my other cousins were frantically Googling my company. But none of that mattered as much as watching Dad show Mom his new watch, explaining its complications with the same passion I remembered from childhood. Some things are worth more than money. Like the look on your father's face when he realizes his daughter didn't just succeed, but succeeded while staying true to the values he taught her. I had my driver drop me at my usual bus stop that night. As I rode the bus home, I spent the time looking at pictures of Dad's old watch collection on my phone, planning how to slowly rebuild it over the next few years, one masterpiece at a time. Sometimes the best revenge isn't showing off your wealth. It's using it to restore what really matters. And sometimes, just sometimes, taking the bus doesn't mean you're broke. It means you're too busy building an empire to worry about what other people think. Before you go, here's a quick bonus for sticking around. If you love learning and growing like I do, you need to try audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible. Your first month is completely free. That's access to over 500,000 titles. Zero cost to you. All the details are waiting in the description. Don't miss this one.